Back from my freshman year of college, I was eager to jump right back into the swing of things. Up early, I was heading to the FEC for some morning train chasing. Arriving in New Smyrna, it felt good to finally be back at my old stomping ground, anxiously waiting on the morning slew of northbound traffic. The sun was quickly rising as I set up at my favorite spot for my first train back home. Hurtling over the Turnbull Bay, Train 218 was making good time. Originating overnight in Fort Lauderdale's Port Everglades, 218 is probably one of the blandest trains on the FEC. It routinely runs with the typical GEVO and natural gas setup, which can prove monotonous to those who don't enjoy this railroad like I do. Because of trains like 218, most folks think that rail fanning the FEC is a dull affair, and it's a seen one, you seen 'em all type of railroad. While this may be true for priority intermodals like 101 and 218, the FEC has a lot to offer if you just know where to look. When rail fanning the FEC, I particularly enjoy finding the railroad's EMDs, which have been primarily relegated to oddball duties and local trains since the arrival of the General Electrics. Driving down to Titusville, I knew I had the chance to intercept the morning turn job up to New Smyrna. Not really knowing the area, it was a small miracle I was able to nail this train. Train 915 runs on weekdays, starting the day off in Titusville by gathering cars from local industries, as well as the intermodal ramp. This entire train is on its way to New Smyrna, with all traffic ultimately bound for Jacksonville. 40 minutes later in New Smyrna, I had finally gotten back ahead of 915, and that's only because the crew stopped to line themselves onto the number 2 track. While 915 was shuffling around its outbound train, Tuesday morning northbound number 228 had gone on duty. I thought it was really neat to see 2 Jeeps working side by side, especially on this favorite railroad of mine. I was able to get ahead of 228 at Mary Avenue to watch them triple out of the yard. Doubling, or tripling a train in this case, requires a lot of stop-and-go action, pulling a block of cars from one track and shoving onto another. The cut of cars brought in by 915 was now on the bottom of 228, where it, along with the rest of the train, will continue north to Jacksonville. Just before 228 had departed the yard, I made the jump to Turnbull Bay once again to see the GP38-2 under heavy power. A single Jeep 38 lugging a mixed train over the river perfectly captures the essence of the Florida East Coast Railway, the essence that keeps me coming back time after time. Of the two massive locals based out of New Smyrna Beach, 228 is certainly the harder one to find. Running exclusively on Tuesday mornings, the train acts almost as an extra, carrying weekend traffic from Titusville and surrounding industries back north. The other, just as hefty local, is train number 905, a weekday turn job out of Jacksonville. The following week, I set a day aside to chase 905, starting out in New Smyrna yet again. First thing I saw upon pulling up was northbound 210 as it dropped off hoppers in the yard. I had every intention of getting ahead of 210, but 915 was coming into the yard from the south and had piqued my interest. 915 was bringing in another hefty cut of outbound freight from Titusville, consisting of sand hoppers for the adjacent industry, lots of lower priority intermodal containers and TOFC traffic, 6 shorty tankers coming from a corn syrup transload facility, and a lot of empty rock hoppers. Titusville is home to a giant CMEX distribution facility and spits out hundreds of empty rock hoppers daily via a number of FEC trains. After 915 had come to a stop, I began to make my way north to intercept train 905. About an hour north sits the south end of Darena, a pass track accessible only by this dirt road crossing. The signals were lined for 905 upon my arrival, however the train would spend a good chunk of time switching an industry to the north before doing so. Since its acquisition by Grupo Mexico in 2017, the FEC has repainted 2 of its GP40-2s into a GM-inspired scheme. One such engine was assigned to this morning's 905, GP40-2 number 414. It was clear I wasn't going to catch back up to 905, so I made my way into Bunnell for Hotshot 101. While I was out and about, I met a couple guys from Kentucky who were down for vacation and intent on getting some good FEC action. I was happy to show them around, always excited to find new people who share the hobby. Unfortunately, we didn't have too much time as the FEC's hottest train came tearing through town. After 101, we parted ways, with myself heading back to New Smyrna to find 905 once again. The slow interchanges of the tourist town made it hard to catch up to 905, and I quite literally had seconds to spare as I threw down my tripod at Turnbull Bay. I always tell myself I should try new angles around the New Smyrna area, and somehow always find myself standing at the Turnbull Bay Bridge. I guess it'll be a cold day down under when I rail fan New Smyrna without stopping by Turnbull Bay. After filling up the gas tank, I was back to the yard, watching 905 prepare for the return trip north. 905 is known for picking up extra power at New Smyrna, so I figured these 3 engines were going to be tacked on along with the original 414. I knew I wouldn't have much time to get ahead of 905 once they were underway, so I made the jump back to Turnbull Bay, where I finally opted for a different angle. I really liked this straight-on view, and it wasn't long before 905 entered it. Apparently the 414 and Gevo were left behind in New Smyrna, but I thought this lineup was perfect. Two classic GP40s running elephant style, muscling their train back north to Jacksonville. Although 905 is considered a local, it runs about a third of the entire FEC system and can usually be seen with upwards of 70 or 80 cars. It's an impressive sight, and just another reason I love observing the FEC. Thanks for railfanning with me today, and don't forget to subscribe if you liked this video.